Well, hi, a very warm welcome to Dusty Shelf. Today's little project is I have one of these chips from Hornby. So this is a HM7000 chip. It's 21 pin and it has the onboard TXS sound on there and gives Bluetooth control to the locos. Now, I've already done a review on this. This came inside the Class 66 King Charles loco that played the national anthem. I'll put a link in the description if you want to see how that ran. I had a second loco with this fitted. It was another diesel, hence why it's got this sort of sound box on the back here. And what I wanted to do is actually install it into this Coronation class loco. So again, I've done a review on this. This is the club loco. It's a limited edition. It was limited to 500, and I quite fancy putting sound inside it. So simple project today is just to install this, get it connected on Bluetooth and see how the sounds are for a steam loco. I personally thought on the diesel loco, the Class 66, it's a game changer. It's absolutely fantastic. I was absolutely amazed by the sounds and the control. But anyway, let's pop this open. As I say, I've already done a review on this loco, and I will put the link in the description if you want to see that review. I actually thought this is one of Hornby's best locos that they've actually done over the years. Absolutely stunning, and especially for the price. These weren't awfully expensive, but because of their limited edition, they did sell out extremely quickly. So let's just slide this out the box. Now I'm expecting some complications with the speaker, because as I say, this normally sits inside its little own echo box for acoustics. That's, I don't believe, is going to fit in here from everything I've read. Right, that's my bag of accessories there. I'm going to put those somewhere safe, obviously, with the name badges on there for the Coronation. And right, let's slide the loco out. Right, step number one. I think I want to separate the tender and the loco. So this is a drawbar tender. I'm going to undo this plug first. Just lift that out. That's the connection between the two. Let me just undo this screw. Right, that's come away nicely. Okay, put the screw over there somewhere safe, and I can put the loco to one side. I've just wondered, you probably just saw me there lifting up the body, wondering why the body's suddenly come loose. Let me get rid of that certificate, it keeps sliding down. And I've actually undone the drawbar at the engine end, so I'm just going to change that over so that goes onto there. And put that screw back in, because that screw is actually what is also the screw for holding the body on. So before I do any damage, let's pop this back on the loco. There you go. That's better. Okay, right, let's get on to the tender. So we've got two screws at this end, I believe. Let's have a look at the instructions. Just make sure this is right. So normally in these instructions they do give disassembly. So yeah, there's two screws, and then we rotate the tender. There's two screws. Just move those over there. Right, now it says you just lift the tender, and the words it uses: lift the tender body and pivot till the clips disengage from the opposite end. Now I don't like the feel of that. That doesn't feel very intuitive at all. That feels like I'm going to break something. Ooh. Yeah, well, it came apart, but yeah, I didn't like that at all. Right, so in here we have an aperture in the centre here. Let me just bring it close to the camera. I have an aperture in the centre here for a speaker. Now obviously I'm not going to get a speaker box in here, so I will need a speaker in there. Now it does say in here there's space for a 28mm round speaker to go in there. So with the help of editing, I'm just going to go and get a speaker. Right, so here we have a little speaker, 28mm speaker that I bought from Coastal DC, I think the name of the shop was. £4.10. A very, very small speaker. Now, one of the things I'm going to have to do is, obviously, I need to keep this connector. You can see this connector here for the Hornby connection into the chip. There's a little connector there. I don't have another one of those, so I'm actually going to cut this wire short and solder the wires onto the speaker. And obviously, if I need to use this again in the future, I can just tack some tails on there and reuse it. So let's do that first of all. Let's have a look. See if this is hot enough. Yeah. Right, just tack these wires onto the speaker. That's one. And over this side. That's two. Okay, so that's my speaker ready to go in. Right, let's have a look at the chip itself. Right, so I'm sure a lot of you have fitted these chips before, but this is the first time I've done this. So this is the blanking plate that, you know, when this is fitted, the loco effectively is DC. When you take this out, you need to replace it with the chip to go back in. Now before I do that, let's see if we can fit this speaker. So if I take out this screw here, take out these two holding on the board. That's one. And then I'm hoping, yes, there's another screw underneath, so let me just move that one out of the way. So undo this. Right, that now lifts up. And then this speaker should just drop in. Right. Let's just assemble this carcass back together. So they go up through, that goes up through there now. Okay. Right, and then we put those two screws back in. There's one. A little bit worried about the connectors on the speaker actually touching the metalwork there. So I'm just going to put a tiny piece of tape over the top of them, just to insulate them, just in case. Happy with that. Right, and then we put the chip into its socket like so. Plug our speaker in. Right, let's give it a test. Okay, so I set myself up a little test bed here. Now the first thing to say, or most important thing to say, is you can't just use any controller on these. There are some that are compatible, some that aren't on these HM700 chips, 7000 chips. So if you've got one of these standard Hornby digital controllers, they output 15 volts to the track. They're absolutely perfect. If one of you using one of the smaller controllers or one that comes with sort of your average train set, I don't believe that's going to work with this. So you either need to buy the power adapter that puts power to the track, or as I say, you can use one of these. And just another quick point, I actually plugged the speaker into the wrong side of the chip, so I've moved it across to the other side. That's the only difference I've done, as I've lifted this onto the test track here. So I'm just going to try and change the camera angle so that you can see how I link this to my phone. So give me a moment. Right, I'm going to go ahead and launch the Hornby DCC 7000 app. Now, one thing with these chips, there's a lot of warnings all over the internet that basically tell you do not try and link this with the DC mobile phone controlled app. If you try and do that, you will damage these chips, so you need to make sure you have got the right app for the HM7000 chip. Now, once I've done this, I'm going to go onto the cog at the bottom of the page here. I'll just move this up so you can see, and push that, which takes me to my settings page. On here I'm going to click on link devices and start a scan. Now this will take a couple of minutes to go through. If you try and click on it too soon, you get an error message. So just let that finish, and then I'm going to link the device. Okay, and I'm going to update the Bluetooth. Let's start the update on the chip. Right, well, that has taken 3 minutes. I've obviously edited it all out because not a very interesting video, so that's all done. Okay, and would you like to fetch and import the latest? No, I don't, because I'm going to put a new loco on here. So now we have this loaded up. There's a couple of things I want to do. I want to change the address, so I'm going to change that over to let's go with 22. And that just means that obviously if you've got multiple locos on there, if you have them all set to 3, you need to change the address of which one you're controlling. There's other functions on here, whether you control it with Bluetooth or DCC. I am controlling it with Bluetooth. I should have mentioned at the beginning, before you start any of this process, make sure you do have the Bluetooth switched on your phone. The app now is for both Android and iPhone. I've got the Apple phone, so I'm loading it into an iPhone here. And then browse profiles. And this is the fun bit, because now we can look through all the different Steam locos. You can see them scrolling across on the bottom here, and I'm looking for Princess, or is it Turbomotive, Flying Scotsman? I'm sure it was on here. Black 5, 9F. There is Princess Coronation class. Okay, and then we click on installing the profile. Installing the profile. So let's move it back on my test track a bit. Right, it's going to take 19 minutes to upload this, so I've just dropped to 14. Right, so we'll leave this going for a little bit and come back and have a look in a moment. Okay, well, I went to get a cup of coffee and I came back to find the loco now running. Thankfully there's things in the way and it hasn't gone off the bench. So let's tick this. Well, I went out to get a cup of coffee, and when I came back in, the loco was actually running. It'd gone on off the end of the test track and over onto the bench, and thankfully there's some things that stopped it disappearing off onto the floor. Now I couldn't stop it, so I've lifted it off the track, given it 10 seconds, put it back on, and everything's calmed down, so that's good. So let's go back to the settings. Right, so now we've got our sounds. Let's see if they work. I think that's going to sound very, very good. Right, let's just check the loco's going to move. Yes, perfect. Now all the locos that you have connected will show up at the top here, and you just literally switch between locos for different functions. But let's go over to the layout and let's have a little play with it. Well, I've just spent the last half an hour chasing the loco around the layout, trying to get some footage of the sounds working in action. And after filming a lot of useless footage, I suddenly remembered that I did have a rolling road. So I've put the loco on there. I just thought we'd demonstrate a few of the sounds. Let me just scroll down a little bit. So let's start with coal shoveling. A whistle. Safety valve. An injector. I've just come across onto page 2. Guard's whistle. Coupling. The blower. And this one's a bit of a favourite, the fireman's breakfast. And then we've got other functions on here like the blow down. And also the coal pusher. Let me just head back onto page 1. Right, so now if I turn the sounds on, like so, and I scroll down and just start the loco moving. Now if you look at the piston, perfectly timed with the sound. I'm so impressed with that. And then as I increase the speed, you can see it's still in time. Really, really superb. As I said before with the Class 66, it is a game changer, and I can't wait to see what this looks like when they eventually get the new steam generators in the locos. It's so well done. And then slowing the speed back down again. Absolutely marvellous. So impressed with it. So I said earlier, I've already done a video on this King Charles II Coronation Class 66. There's a link in the description if you want to watch it, but just because I can and why I'm here, I thought I'd demonstrate the sounds on this. So you can see on the profile we've got different titles on some of the items here away from the steam loco. So just got the horns here and multiple horns. Got a brake squeal, diesel notch up. Is that going to work? No, that one doesn't seem to want to work. Notch down. I think this is when the engine's running, you can notch up the sound. So I'm just going to go on to page 2, which is we've got the compressor. Wipers. This one I think is quite unique, the Spirix valve. Got a flange squeal for the wheels. Is it going to go? And the brake. Yeah. Door closing. What else have we got? Guard's whistle. Yeah, all kinds of sounds on here. Now let's go back to page 1 and let's get the loco moving. So start the engine. Now it's not going to be so clear as the steam loco, but as you increase the speed of the loco, you'll hear the brake come off. And then as the wheels start to move, you hear the engine note change. Let's bring the speed back down. And let's stop the engine. And then on page 2, I was just going to do this cold start. Where did I see it? It was here somewhere. We've got the diesel primer. And then on page 3, what have we got in here? Brake again. And the controversial thing that this loco was originally advertised with, which is this sound, where quite uniquely it plays the national anthem. Well, I'm so impressed. I think this is marvellous. It really does bring the locos to life, and especially on the steam one, with it being synchronised with the movement and the motion, even better than the Class 66, and that's saying something. Now the chip itself, relatively easy to fit. I did have a few problems in connecting it to the phone. I didn't put all of those in the video. Most of them was through my incompetence and sort of going around in circles trying to learn the app, but got there in the end. Chips retail for around £60 to £70. They do them in all kinds of pins, and with the app being free and being able to download the sounds for free, I think really good value to bring these locos to life. The only thing I would say with this particular one, obviously having to fit a speaker in there, the 28mm round speaker, I guess they could put those in, you know, during manufacture, make life easy for us. But obviously, then there'll be a lot of these locos carrying around speakers that they don't need. Now, one of the things I did find is the actual speaker, the 28mm speaker, isn't a Hornby accessory, or at least I couldn't find it as a Hornby accessory, which I think is a bit of a missed trick there, because I ended up going to a third-party retailer to buy the speaker. But anyway, it's gone together really lovely. As I say, I think the sounds are wonderful. But I just thought I'd share this with you. I was doing it anyway, so I thought I'd film it. And hopefully, if you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. And yeah, do check out the channel. There's plenty more things on there that may interest you. And yeah, but I'll leave this one there. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.